All right, so has your favorite team ever missed a field goal to win the game and you've just been really annoyed and said, I can do that?
Yes.
Well, a lot of people don't understand the pressure that kickers are under when they go to kick a game-winning field goal or something like that, a kick to tie it or whatever. But today I'm going to demonstrate how to kick a football. I've kicked in high school for 4 years. I've been a 4-year varsity starter. I've got to kick in big playoff games. I've missed some big kicks and I've made some big kicks. This year I got All-State kicking the football, so I started kicking when the pandemic hit in 2020. I went out to play soccer and there was a football in my bag and Dad said, try to kick this. I kicked it between the uprights about 10 times in a row and he said, you need to try kicking football. That's where I fell in love with it. So anyway, I'm going to demonstrate how to kick a football. The first thing you need to know when kicking a football is where on your foot to kick the ball. The place that you want to kick the ball is this metatarsal bone right here in the center of your foot, kind of where the laces meet the leather. That's the hard part of your foot. That's where you're going to generate the most power when you make contact with the ball. The next thing you need to know on making contact with the ball is where on the football to kick it. So if you kick it too high on the ball, it's just going to go flat. You're not going to get any height on it and you can't get it between the two yellow posts. If you kick it too low, you might get it all the way up in the air, but it's not going to have the distance to get through. So in that case, you want to kick it right in this sweet spot about a third of the way up on the ball. This will generate the length and the height you need to kick the ball through the uprights. The next thing I'm going to show you is the steps when lining up to kick a football. So this is my holder, this is what I used to practice with. I'm just going to set it up like I would set it up in a game or in practice. When you take your steps, you want to start with your plant foot about a foot length from the side of the ball. You want to start by taking 3 steps back. Just 3 normal, comfortable steps back. You don't want to take steps too far along because then you're out of control and you don't know where you're aiming. Next thing you want to do is take 2 normal steps to the side. So anyway, you're lined up, you got your steps. You want to start with your left foot in front of your right. And that's how you line up for a field goal. The next thing you need to know when kicking a football is how you approach the ball. To approach the football, it's kind of whatever you're most comfortable with. The way you're taught to do it, like in the training camps and stuff, is you start with taking a jab step with your left. This gives you time to see what your holder's doing. When he catches the ball, that's when you start your motion. So you're taking that jab step just to see where the ball's at. Then the ball gets put down. Then you take your right step, kind of like lunging towards it. And then you take your left plant step and you're going to kick the ball. Now the first thing we talked about was foot to ball contact. So when you're swinging your leg back to kick the football, you want to keep your toes down. That's almost like a famous coach taught me that you want to hold like coins in between your toes. That way you lock your foot out and you expose that metatarsal bone I was talking about. And then you're just lining up to kick that sweet spot, and then you follow through down the line where you're aiming. And that should put the ball straight on target where you're aiming. Let's see. The next thing I'm going to talk about is external factors when it comes to kicking. There's a lot of things that can affect how you kick the ball. Weather's one of them. It could be a windy day. You could have a 20-mile-per-hour wind going left. You could have a 20-mile-per-hour wind going right. You want to kick the ball as straight as you can every time and just align to the factors. So like say you have a 20-mile-per-hour wind going to the right. You would want to line up aiming to the left. So what you don't want to aim like outside of the goalpost, just in case you pull it, but you want to aim like just inside of the left upright when you're trying to kick. So that way you would change your steps, align it like you're kicking to the left, or align like you're kicking to the right. One thing I forgot to mention on your approach, when you're kicking the ball and you get back, you take your 3 steps back, 2 to the side, you want to point your plant foot at where you're going to plant before you kick the ball. If you point it towards the ball, you can end up getting your plant foot too close, and that can cause you to swing and hook it. Because when you swing, you can't follow through down the straight line. You kind of follow through. If you're not balanced, and you swing that way, and it goes off target. Let's see here. Another factor when kicking is how the ball's held. In a game, there's a snapper and a holder, and it's all about timing of when you get the kickoff. You have to get it off in about a second, 1.2 seconds. So it's all a process. The snapper's got to be perfect, and the hold's got to be perfect, just so the kicker's job's a lot easier. Sometimes you don't get a hold, and it's the kicker's job to adjust to it. You tell your holder that you want the ball laces out with a slight lean to the right, just like that right there. However, sometimes it's a bad snap and they can't control it. Sometimes you might get a ball that's leaned too far back, which hides part of that sweet spot I was talking about earlier, about a third of the way up. Sometimes your holder puts the leg towards you, which really hurts the kick. But you gotta make it. You still want to kick the ball 2/3 of the way up and just say a prayer. Because it hurts, but you gotta do it. You might get a ball that's flat on the ground. I've seen it happen before, where the holder just drops it. At that point, you yell fire, because it's hard to kick the ball downwards and up for it to go through. And then whatever your coach has taught you from fire, just because you can't kick that ball, it's not going to go anywhere. It's like kicking a soccer ball. It's not going to go over the uprights. It might go in the soccer net, but it's not going to go through the uprights in a football game. Another factor when it comes to kicking is the game situation. The pressure that somebody's under when it comes to kicking a football is just, there's a lot to it. There's a lot of fans watching you. The band's playing, the popcorn's popping. It's an old saying from coaches, but sometimes, like when the game's tied, it's on you to make the kick. And if you don't make the kick, it's on you because you just lost your team the game. So if you're tied, a minute left, and you miss the kick, a lot of NFL kickers lose their jobs off those type of kicks. So it's a lot of pressure. Your teammates they won't hate you, but they'll think it's your fault that you missed the kick. And when you make the kick, it's an amazing feeling. Obviously, if you guys watch any college football games, you'll see a kid make a big kick to win the game, and then the crowd rushes the field, and you're the man on campus for at least a week. But they expect you to make the kicks every time, and if you miss it, they just point all the blame on you. So there's a lot of pressure to it. And that is my speech on how to kick a football. I've showed you how to line up to it. I've showed you where you want to make contact with the ball, and I've shown you how to approach the ball. I've also explained the features or the external factors that come with it, the weather, wind, bad holds, bad snaps, everything else. Obviously, there's a lot to kicking that goes unnoticed when you're blaming a kicker for your favorite team losing. Just think of all the stuff that we talked about. All that stuff goes through your head when you're going out to kick one field goal, let alone 5, 6, however many you have to kick in a game. But I've showed you how to kick a football. Hopefully you guys understand what kind of pressure a kicker is under when it comes to a game. And thank you guys for listening.